Hey there guys, my name is Mike Munzing with Munzing Mortgage Group. It's been a couple of weeks since I brought you a video. I was out of town last week and wanted to cover a couple of reports this week. We've missed a little bit of information, so let's jump right in. The first report is the foreclosure report for the month of March. I get my information from Foreclosure Radar. Sean O'Toole up in Northern California does a fantastic job breaking down the numbers for all of the Western states. And as he puts it on the report, that the foreclosure sales are continuing to plummet. Now, in the last month, the sales of foreclosures in California as a whole have dropped 16.7%. And for the last year, it's dropped 53.1%. And of the sales last month that were scheduled for sale, 80% were postponed. So these are some kind of interesting numbers as we're watching these foreclosure numbers drop. Now, as he puts it in here, you'll read it in the report, that as of September of 2008, the laws changed, which got the government more involved, working with these banks and almost discouraging them to file the foreclosures. So there's not a lot of motivation. So that wave of foreclosures that we keep thinking we're going to be seeing probably isn't coming. Let's jump into the charts so we can break down some of the detailed numbers so you see what's going on. First is the notice of default. That's that first stage after you've been missing your payments. The bank files a notice of default to let you know their intent to move forward on a foreclosure. Now that is one of the areas that jumped a little bit, that first stage in California. It was at 22,512 notices were filed, and that's up 18.57%. Now the notice of trustee sale, the next step, once they've picked the date and they're telling you what date that's going to sell, now that is at 19,285. And that, in effect, dropped 11.74%. Now, once those homes go to sale, a number of things happen. Either they can be canceled, which in this case, there's 9,712 properties were canceled, and that is up only 1.45%. Or it can go back to the bank. Now, that's the most common, is the bank that filed for foreclosure ends up taking the property back. They don't have a seller on the steps, and that was at 5,204 properties. That is where it was down 18.79%, and those going to a third party, those investors on the steps, that was at 3,188 homes, and that was down 12.94%. So that's for the overall state of California, but most of you are here in Orange County. So let's take a look what happened here specifically in Orange County. Let's see what the trend is. For the notice of defaults, that was at 1,427 properties. That's up close to the state level of 18.42%. Now the notice of trustee sales, that's right at exactly 1,300 filings for notice of trustee sale, and that is down 9.97, right at 10%. Once again, once it goes to the sale, the ones that were canceled was 826 foreclosures were canceled. Now, when they're canceled, it means that there was either a loan modification or something else was negotiated, but that's once again 826 properties at 2.35% increase over last month. The back to the bank here in Orange County was at 230 properties. That, much like the state, is a big drop at 17.86% drop. And finally, the sales to the third party, to the investors here in Orange County, is 197 properties, and that is a drop of about 2.48% for the month of March. Okay, the next report that I want to cover, as I often do, is Stephen Thomas's home sales report, and those can be found at www.reportsonhousing.com. Stephen does a fantastic job. He gets those reports out every 2 weeks, and as I always say, he is now putting that out there as a subscription. I highly recommend you getting that. He goes into the absolute details, the minutia of the numbers, but it gives you a lot of great information to talk to your buyers and your sellers about, so you come off really being the expert on what is happening in your own market. Let's see what Stephen has to say. His important coverage for this report was on encouraging the buyers to clearly see the true cost of owning a home. He talks about the difference between the sales price and what that monthly payment really is. I think what he's covering is what's going to happen when these incredibly historic low interest rates actually jump up. That being said, I want to bring up this little chart here that Stephen puts up, a little comparison between 4% and 6%. And if we look at what happens to the actual payment of a $400,000 mortgage, if you're at 4% versus if you're at 6%, and that payment increases every month by $489 a month between just that small amount, just 4% to 6%. Now on the other side here of the chart, he looks at the comparison of the purchase ability, the purchase price. If I'm working with somebody with you right now at 4% and they can qualify for a $400,000 mortgage, if that rate jumps to 6%, the qualifying loan amount drops by $80,000. It goes from $400,000 to $320,000. That is substantial. So folks say, well, gee, if there's inflation, the rates will go up, but hey, our housing price will go up. This is obviously not going to happen because people can only qualify for what they can qualify for. Their income only goes so far, and income does not go up with inflation. So this is very important information to recognize. Okay, so as for active listings, he covers in his report, they continue to drop, and this is becoming of concern to me. He does not see this returning around anytime soon. But in the last 2 weeks, the listings have dropped 261 properties in Orange County, and that's 6,054 properties. Seems like just a few months ago, it dropped below 10,000. So this is just amazing. And in the last 1 year, our inventory in Orange County has dropped 42%. That is of concern, especially for our buyers. Now, he does mention that I think a lot of the buyers have been disheartened a bit as well, because there has been a fairly substantial slowdown in the demand, as he calls it, or our buyers' interest, and that has now plateaued. It, in the last 2 weeks, did increase 1%. Those are not good numbers for us. And finally, distress market. We covered that on the foreclosure report. The banks are not being motivated to clear those pipes. They're not being motivated to foreclose on these properties. The government's got their back, which is not good for our society and our economy as a whole, but it is happening. And unless we make a big change this coming November, it's going to continue to happen. So we need this market to come back. Now, it seems to have plateaued, but as I think I've mentioned many times, at somewhat artificial levels, and artificial forces are in the market, not allowing things to be fully corrected. But as far as the distressed market, it is down 49% this year alone as far as the properties that are on the market for short sales and for foreclosure sales. Hey, just wanted to remind you that here's a new flyer that I designed promoting the fact that I am running in the 73rd Assembly District for the Central Committee. I will be on the June 5th ballot. So if you know of anyone or are in the South Orange County area, once again, my name, Mike Munzing, will be on the ballot. I'll be on that front page right below the presidential election, and I'd be honored to get your vote. Spread the word for me if you could. I want to be the top vote getter. I want to win this thing, and that would be great. I'm currently on the committee. We just want to keep doing some good work there as well. Hey, we're coming into a weekend here, and I hope that you have a fantastic time. I hope that you're out there working hard. I know I am. I'm here for you. I would love to work with your buyers, love to help them out. Hey, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless our country. Summer's coming. It's going to be exciting times. Let's work together. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.